ashamed of anything. Not her past, not her affairs, not her body, and most definitely not her desire. She is the undisputed queen of Bollywood, and we've even set up a special queen-like chair for her. Kangana Ranaut, National Award winner, is our special guest in India today. Welcome, Kangana.
Thank you, Rahul.
Do you like our chair? You have no idea how much trouble our producers went through to ensure the queen feels like a queen when she's seated in this chair.
Thank you.
So
More like a throne.
It is for the queen of Bollywood. So this is your third national award. You're now, after Shabana Azmi, only the second Bollywood actress to win two back-to-back national awards. So that throne is well justified.
Yes, thank you.
So tell us, for someone who initially wasn't supposed to be in films, whose father fought very hard to ensure that she didn't get into films, now your family accompanies you, your father welcomes you, does that in some senses feel as vindication for your work, Kangana?
Absolutely. I feel I followed my instincts, I followed my intuition, and it paid off. I mean, it's been quite a, I won't say it's been a just a very fairy tale, though it seems like that, but it's been quite a roller coaster ride. But I loved it. I love it. I love the way it has all turned out to be. I loved my father resisted my choices, and he didn't let me, just gave me a lot more stamina to...
How did the reconciliation happen? How did you win him back and get him to be comfortable with the choices you were making?
Well, initially there was a lot of tension between us, where we would end up fighting on dining table also, like, you know, mujhe dal chahiye, mujhe rajma chahiye, and then we will be fighting, you know, over every small thing. And it was very hard for my father to come to terms with that, the fact that, you know, I wanted the best for my children, and according to my life learnings and experiences, I laid a certain map for them, and that you know, this little girl has proved that map absolutely wrong. So he lost faith in his own ideologies, in his own conviction, and here I am, who's, you know, defying everything that he's ever believed in or, you know, thought is the right thing to do.
So each time I think of a queen, there is a certain image of this person who looks very royal and has a certain way she appears, the way she behaves. But the queen of Bollywood loves breaking stereotypes. Is this something that you do deliberately because you like doing it, or it's just the way you're engineered?
Well, the thing is that I, honestly, when I rebelled against my father also, the intention wasn't to prove him wrong. The intention was to follow my own intuition and instinct, and to verify my own inbuilt, what you call, navigator, that we all have, you know. And still, I feel my father has absolutely been right in his choices for his life. But for my life, I need to make my own choices. And I think after my first national, coming back to your first question, my first national award, which was for fashion, you know, I think he sort of accepted that after all, her victory is our victory, and the whole family's thing. It's not that had to be conveyed to him, that my being right is not necessarily that you are wrong, you know. So and again, the same thing for industry. If I follow, I break rule, it's not to prove that what's been going on for so long, or what has worked for ages or decades for people, is eventually wrong because there is a new formula that worked. No, I think that sort of attitude has to be...
So many actors, very accomplished actors, go through a large part of their career without winning a national award. You won 3 already. So where does the queen of Bollywood go from here? There's so many actors now, whether it's a Priyanka Chopra or a Deepika Padukone, who are now eyeing Hollywood. So where do you see yourself go?
Well, I definitely want to make films that cater to world audiences, and I would want my film to be seen and to be released in other territories as well, but not necessarily Hollywood, because if you see, Hollywood has shown a very steep descent in its graph.
In what way?
In past 2-3 years, they are majorly surviving on the international territories, and that's why they are releasing films in 3D, which is majorly catering to China and Asian markets. And I think for Hollywood, Netflix and more digital platform is the future, and TV, of course, is huge. Whereas Bollywood, Indian film industry or Asian film industry has shown a sort of ascent in their graph. Like, look at China. China has emerged as China clearly taking over Hollywood in its growth as an industry, and it's very prominent where it is today, and I think India is going to follow.
So you want international films in their appeal, but not necessarily in the language of production. You're also a queen who hasn't worked with any of the kings. You haven't worked with any of the Khans, and yet you managed to become queen. Is that something you've done deliberately, or has an opportunity not presented itself?
Well, in the beginning, I think I wanted to have a conventional, very easy sort of route where I can work with big heroes and be big heroine. Because when you work with for example, like, you know how in villages, if somebody's husband is a doctor, the wife is doctorni, even if she's not, you know. So the husband is master, so the wife is masterni, even if she's a housewife. So I think that's probably what follows in Bollywood. If you work with a superstar, you could be a newcomer, but then you become a superstarni. So that didn't happen with me. And
so you didn't want it to happen, or it just didn't happen?
It just didn't.
And now that you have the opportunity, now that you're queen, now you can pick which Khan you want to act with.
Yeah, now I get a lot of offers to work with Khans. But then the thing is, it's just the same way. Like I remember when I was struggling to get my father's support. You know, I was asking him for some help, some financial help, and he's like, if you, my way or highway. If you don't want to go to school, then I have no money for you. And when I became successful, I already had money, so he was offering money. It's the same thing, like with Khans, that when I wanted work, nobody was ready to work with me. And now that I'm my own hero on my set, so why should I work with other hero? You know, like it's not that, like I do films like Rangoon where I have equal parts to play.
Vishal Bhardwaj.
Vishal Bhardwaj. So I'd say there are three heroes. There is Saif, there is Kangana, there is Shahid. So there are three heroes.
Does that mean a lot to you? Because I've seen, for example, with women tennis players who are big stars, they were very upset for a long time with not getting the same salary as their male counterparts would. Now we know that Bollywood is hugely dominated towards the male stars who get far more salaries than their female colleagues do. We're told that you are the highest paid Bollywood actress, but probably still lesser than any of the Khans.
Yes, that's true. That's true, but I feel Khans are a bit of a you know, like a case study sort of phenomena, you know, so I wouldn't want to compare myself to Khans, but keeping my male counterparts in mind, I made sure that I get paid as much as they do.
Something you demanded?
Yes.
So you're now paid just as much as, say, Saif Ali Khan or anybody else doing a film with you. Is that something you're very particular about?
Yes.
And why not? Because if your films, even without a substantial male lead, are doing as well, and therefore you have every right to be paid exactly the same.
Yes.
Do you think there'll be a day when that applies to all of Bollywood? It's just that, is that something that applies only to Kangana?
I think as women start to do more significant roles and start to participate in more ways than you know, just being a very small part of films, and like I said, if I do a very small role in a film, say an appearance or maybe one important scene, then I should charge according to that, you know. But if I'm playing a central character and literally the, you know, plot driving protagonist, which consumes whole of my year and most of my time, then I should charge according to, you know, what I am providing as an artist and as an individual to my job.
So while that's something that you've been successful in achieving, ensuring that there is pay parity, you also emerged as a face of feminism in Bollywood. Is that a tag you like, or is there a tag that sits heavy on you?
Well, it sits a little heavy on me because I'm an artist. I primarily see myself as an artist, and I do not identify with a full-time feminist, and I wish I could actually give some part of my time to things that actually would make me a bona fide feminist, because right now this seems a bit superficial on me. I've not done anything significant to deserve this.
No, but you've broken all kinds of stereotypes in what you do, in your films, in what you do in your life. You're constantly about breaking.
But all, see, this has been a very personal agenda. Like if I charge a certain amount of money, I'm doing that only for myself, you know. Or if I do a film like Queen, I see how it works for me as an artist, you know, or I do a film like Tanuets Manu. It's very personal, you know, and it's very career-driven agendas, you know. So I wouldn't want to pretend like I'm doing something for society, whereas I am not. And the day I do, I would take pride in that, but I wouldn't want to take credit for something that I am not intentionally doing and just happening.
So you're not a feminist by design, you're just a feminist by chance at this time?
Yes.
But you would like to change that?
I would love to. I would love to.
In what way?
I would love to sort of understand what exactly it is like to be a feminist. Do we have to fight for women's rights, or do we have to make women aware of their rights, or do we have to work on a girl child's education? Do we have to instill confidence and a sense of pride in women? What is exactly what is it like to be a feminist? And I'm so consumed with my own little life as an actress that I hardly have time to you know, delve into, you know, social things like that, but I would love to.
So tell me, when it comes to acting with men and trying to be better, is that something that you try and do, to try and be better than the men actors that you're acting with just at that time?
Well, the thing is, it's not that I try and be better than men actors. I try and be better than everybody around me. I don't deliberately target men as in, oh, he's my hero, I better be better than him. No, that's not the case. I just want to be my best. And you know, I was being asked a question right now that, do you think best actor and best actress category as awards are a bit sexist because there's no female director or male director category when it comes to you know, other departments? And I felt it is a bit sexist, you know. Why is there no one actor, like a best actor?
So you'd like that there be a best actor category?
Yes, we should all compete for that excellence in human spirit, and regardless of our sex, and that should be the spirit in classrooms, you know, that should be the spirits in at workplaces, you know, not as man or women. We should compete as individuals.
Do you think Bollywood has accepted you? Do you feel like an insider? Or
why should Bollywood accept me? You should ask me, have I accepted Bollywood?
Have you accepted Bollywood?
Yes, I have.
And has Bollywood accepted you?
I don't care.
You don't care. But do you feel that you're part of a family, part of a larger community, or do you still feel that you're on the edges of this film industry despite being the reigning queen?
Well, I don't, let's put it this way, I don't sought acceptance. I don't need to be, you know, sort of live up to anybody's expectations. And when it comes to film industry, I feel a very integral part of it, because I am, like I said, I am doing significant work which makes significant impact, and I would like to believe that I've made some sort of...
But do you feel bad when people don't stand up for you, in the sense that don't make you feel that you're part of their fraternity, still treat you like an outsider?
Do I feel bad? I don't feel bad.
Do you feel disappointed?
No, I don't feel, I don't actually feel, I never really expected anybody to stand up for me, because the way my life has been and the way I have sort of, you know, been through my experiences, I've stood up for my own self, and why should anybody else stand up for me? I mean, I can do it on my own.
So I saw this interview you did with one of my colleagues, in which you said that I've been in love with obese men, broke men, abusive men. So what is it about Kangana Ranaut and the kind of men she chooses to fall in love with?
I mean, that's okay to, you know, you can't really explain why do you like, you know, certain somebody at certain point, and then you just grow out of that equation. Don't embarrass me. If I remove your list of girlfriends, you won't be able to answer, you know, any of the choices that you've made.
Oh, absolutely. There's no dispute about that. So I'm not seeking to embarrass you at all, but I'm saying that you're amongst the only people who'll actually say something like this. You know, I've interviewed Deepika, Priyanka, Aishwarya, multiple people. Nobody would ever say this. I have another gem from an old Kangana interview in which you say that you've had abusive relationships and you've had experiences that could have led you to death. This is you yourself saying this. So you are, as they say in Hindi, completely mufat, which nobody else would be.
Well, to be honest, it's very hard for me to find any sort of shame or blame in my life. You know, like I'm I'm not made that way. I don't see my life, nothing about me. I find which can, you know, put me to shame. So I talk about my experience just like having, you know, like any other experience, like making a movie. So when I go through a bad experience, I speak about it just the same way. Well, an artist sees creativity everywhere. I take a lot of inspiration from everything around me, you know, my own life, or the way I perceive life, people around me, equations, relationships, experiences, music, everything, history, culture, everything adds to you and your personality.
Do you think of Bollywood as being sexist?
Bollywood being sexist? Well, why just Bollywood? Like, you know, we have to.
Do you think Bollywood being particularly sexist?
No, Rahul, that's not true. Like, you know, we have to, and especially the kind of environment that I have, you know, grew up in. I come from a middle class family, and we know that sexism or you know, misogynistic society is a matter of fact in a third world country, you know, and I feel it's a matter of fact that we live with. We can't say that, oh, it just doesn't exist, or it, you know, exists in partly in few portions of the country. That's not true. I mean, when a girl child is born, the first thing the family faces is disappointment, and that goes for even the highest society people in India. So that's where a girl child starts from, and I've been speaking a lot about this in the past also. So for me, I don't find Bollywood particularly sexist.
But do you think some of the male actors that you'd work with, the people you come in touch with, are insecure about your success? Well, the thing is, I feel I was prepared for everything. Like I said, I've been brought up in an environment where my dada would tell me, on a dining table we would sit, and he would tell me, you get up, ladies will eat later. You know, so all men used to eat and then used to run back to kitchen. So, you know, see, we can't really pretend that it doesn't happen. It does, right? So your right to have food is also sort of has to, you know, be followed by. But that's in a small village in the hills.
Yeah.
Mumbai, Delhi are big cities, more modern, supposedly in their
so like I said, like recent turn of events, like, you know, whatever has happened in my life and how things have turned out to be have shocked me also, because I was maybe not. It's been very overwhelming and unsettling for me also. Like I was, like I said, even though I was ready for it, and I'm quite used to this sort of thing, but it's been way too overwhelming.
But you fought back, which is fantastic. You know,
Thank
we were
you.
just discussing in our newsroom yesterday that there have been so many relationships gone sour in the past. Nobody ever speaks, nobody ever fights back. You're the only person I've ever seen who says, I will not be treated badly. Why should I be treated badly? What have I done that deserves being treated badly? And you fought.
Thank you. But like I said, you know, I was probably prepared for everything, but I wasn't prepared for this. You know, this has brought about a different side of our society, even for me to see, which is very hard to come to terms with. You know, this kind of suppression, this sort of name calling, this kind of witch hunt sort of mentality in this 21st century and in this environment.
Does it come from an insecurity that your career is at its peak? There are other people whom I shan't name because this is not about individuals, but this is about ideas. And their careers aren't going anywhere. Multiple people, their careers aren't going anywhere. Your career is at the peak. People are coming to see the Queen of Bollywood, and there are others whose careers aren't going anywhere, and therefore are they insecure of your success? Well,
the thing is, like, you know how one of my friends were telling me yesterday that many people are insecure of many people, right? And there is envy. It has always there. It has been there. It will always be there. But you do not subject this sort of you know, this kind of brutality onto anybody. But, you know, more than me or anyone, what it shows is a different side of our society.
In what way? What?
In this way that, you know, what we are doing as a society, you know, the way we are discussing the most delicate matters, you know, in a very brutal and in a very negative, sadistic fashion. For example, when I'm being called a psychopath or somebody who's
a witch.
A witch.
Who drinks blood?
Yeah, so the thing is that because I, as an artist, have done such intense research, and I've been very lucky to play some of these parts. For example, somebody who suffers from schizophrenia and bipolar disorder.
You were accused in a public mail of having a kind of autism Asperger's.
Yeah, so my point is, why are these, why conditions like that are being, used in such a sadistic and brutal way?
I don't see why it should be used as an accusation.
Exactly.
My
point is that, see, I do, right now, what I want to do is I do not want to detach myself or, from these names, because for way too long, we women are refusing to accept ourselves, in a way that, imagine in medieval ages, there is no evidence how the history of mankind has been affected by witchcraft, but there is significant factual history of how the brutality and sadism of mankind has been displayed in the most obscene manner in the name of witch hunt. There were millions and millions of women who were burnt alive, and today in this age and time also, when we have to project our frustration on a woman, the first thing we call a Diane, Jural, whore, or psychopath, So what we need to do as a society, right now we don't have to disown any of this. If you feel like, I am a very proud Hindu, I love Sanatan, and I think the foundation of my personality is very strongly laid on Swami Vivekananda's teachings, or Sanatan, or Gita, or quantum physics for that matter. And if my religious practices, or anybody's religious practices, is given any sort of sadistic names, or called and made to look at, it instills xenophobia in our children. It instills a sense of sin, or being scared of others' religious practices. Why do we need to disown a witch? Say, for example, don't we love Harry Potter? As a creative person, tomorrow I wouldn't want my baby girl to be scared of witches. I would want her to write something like Shakespeare. Shakespeare loved witches. Why do we need to instill fear or any sort of sense of sin in our children? When we talk about a woman having a bipolar disorder, why is there so much shame and blame for people who are struggling with mental illness?
No, Deepika Padukone, for example, speaks about it.
Exactly. So when
she's become a champion for helping people who have some kind of mental disorders, trying to help them.
But they are talking about it as an accusation.
That's not fair.
That's not fair. And what about my menstrual blood? Like, people are in the country discussing my periods, and what's so gross about it? In the same line, they write, first of all, it's not an appetizer or a cocktail. First of all, even to suggest that it is a it is used for food making or things like that is not acceptable. And in the same line, you go to say gross. What's so gross about period blood? Why do we need to tell our women that period blood is gross? I mean, where will this take our women and our children when there is nothing gross about babies? Why is period blood? If there is nothing enchanting or mysterious, or if a man's body fluid doesn't cast a spell by consuming it in any way, why should a woman's body fluid,
No, absolutely. My wife, in fact, works on menstrual health, and she was very irritated when she read some of the stuff that you're referring to. She was so irritated.
And see, I don't mind if you discuss my period cycle in your gossip columns. It doesn't embarrass me. If your agenda is to shame me, it doesn't. But don't call it gross.
No,
because
absolutely.
I don't find anything gross about it.
And the one line I loved about what you said earlier is that slut shaming won't work. It's just not acceptable, and it's terrific the way that you've fought back. Is that something that you had to think about? Should I not? Were people telling you don't bother, it's not worth it? Or was that never a choice? You had to fight back, you couldn't accept this?
Well, the thing is, Rahul, the thing is, it's not that when I'm attacked like that, it's not that I don't sit back in a moment of doubt and despair and reconsider everything that I've been and who I am, and I doubt my own personality. Is there a social skill that I'm lacking, or is there something I can do about my personality which makes life easier for me, or at least people around me, But the truth is that if there is something like that, I'm not aware of it, and it's not been revealed to me yet. Maybe 10 years down the line, I'll look back and I'll think I could have done things differently. But as of now, I can't pretend to be sorry about something that I'm not.
Now, one other thing that irritated me a lot is when it was suggested that an actress had something to do with somebody else's luck and fortune, whether or not a particular wannabe hero ends up doing well in his career or doesn't do well, or a cricketer. For example, similar thing happened with Anushka, who was accused of bringing bad luck to poor Virat Kohli.
Yeah. So the thing is, I am very happy that it happened to me, because when before my sister's acid attack, I used to see multiple things like that taking place, and you tend to be indifferent. Okay, fine, like whatever. Or like I said, these events or this news would be flashed everywhere. This one is not lucky, this one is lucky for her spouse or husband, things like that. But you tend to be indifferent. Fine. It's not that you don't have any emotion for it, but you just sort of block yourself. But when it happens to yourself, you tend to be a lot more aware of where our society is, and that's what I mean, that even this turn of events has been so insightful, I must say. Not really.
What have you learned from it?
I've learned where we stand as a society.
And where do we stand?
We don't stand anywhere. We don't stand anywhere. We don't respect our girls. We don't, to humiliate women for their periods, which is their power, which is the power of reproduction.
So what do you want to say to a man who says that being with you brought him bad luck, that I put on weight, lost 5 years of my life, I was in New York looking up at the ceiling, just being with Kangana brought bad luck? Oh, and it's happened to others as well. It's the same thing. The man does badly and the poor woman gets blamed for it.
Yeah. See, the thing is that a certain person doesn't interest me, and it's not about me as a person and my equation with people, because that's entirely very, very personal, and like it'll be very shallow of me to discuss my perspective on a very personal equation with somebody else. But I'm talking here like
I'm talking on the larger issue of women being blamed for how a man does, which happens to girlfriends of cricketers, which happens to wives of businessmen if the business does badly, which could happen to an actor if the girl goes on to become the queen of Bollywood and his career goes nowhere.
Yeah. Well, the thing is that, see, the mentality is the same, that if I can't get you, I might as well destroy you. So
do you think an attempt is being made to destroy you?
Well, at least yes, definitely. Attempts are being made. If they're working or not, that's a different scenario.
No, they're not working. I can tell you that. They're not working because across, not just for women, for men as well. I think you've emerged as the symbol of how to fight back, not to take stuff being thrown at you lying down, because there's absolutely nothing that you've done which is wrong, which you need to accept.
That's what I mean. Like, if I don't genuinely feel sorry for what I've done, or I genuinely feel, okay, fine, this blame comes from a place where I need to sort of clarify things. I have no problem in being called a witch. You can talk about my periods, don't call it gross.
Why should you be called a witch?
If you see, Rahul, we need to diffuse these weapons. These weapons are being used on women for way too long now. Growing up, my biggest fear was that if I'm a loser of a woman, I'll be called a whore, a witch, a psychopath, and maybe a drug addict, right? But the thing is, I have a lot of respect for people who are struggling with drug abuse, who are trying to come out of it, and I've played drug addict, and I do not see anything gross about it. Like I said, I've played a person who's going through psychosis and who has challenges like bipolar and schizophrenia and wolame. I have a lot of respect for these people as well. Today I might not have it, but tomorrow I can. Who are we to judge it as a society and call these conditions names, like, oh, she's this whore of a woman who's this and who's that.
So how do you deal with all of this? I
need to diffuse it. I want to tell all these girls who like me and who would want to follow my footsteps that growing up I felt that if I'm a loser, I will be called all of this. But know that more powerful you become, more potent these weapons they become against you. So we need to diffuse. We need to accept it and move on. Let's see what's next.
Are you upset that no one's spoken up in your favor? That would you like at least some women to stand up and say, what is happening to Kangana is unfortunate and it's not acceptable, and you shouldn't do this?
Well, the thing is, I really don't know what to say about that, because I feel a lot of support. I don't see people talking publicly about it.
Do you have lots of friends in Bollywood?
Not lots of them, but I have well-wishers.
Close friends.
I have well-wishers.
They haven't spoken out, but they're telling you that they stand by you. Everyone stands by you, whether it's social media, whether it's online, whether any sensible person, when they see what's happening, they say, Kangana is the one who's doing the right thing. Before I end this, Kangana, this is the first time you've spoken since a whole bunch of controversies broke out. And you've been exceedingly brave about this.
Thank you.
On camera, off camera, in the way that you're dealing with this. How would you wish that this end?
I think this should definitely end on a note where we, as a society, though we know there's a lot which has just come out, a lot of stuff which was really hidden underneath, and it was really sort of deep down in the psychology of masses. It's out there in the open, and I am glad that it is.
Why are you glad that it is?
It is because subconsciously it hurts us a lot more than, because these so-called, like I said, high society people are a lot more hollow and orthodox than people who are in the interiors of our country, and these are the ones who are leading the country. So it's good that everything that is within the
So you're hoping that it will get settled in courts or in conversation? How do you hope that it gets settled?
Well, it's not that.
Is it important to settle it, or it doesn't matter? Just deliver the next big film and to hell with what everybody else has said.
Like I said, see Rahul, the thing is that I cannot pretend to be sorry for something I am not. I hope I have that realization, and at some point that awareness of something that I've done or has happened which I feel sorry for.
How do you deal with this? Where does the inner strength come from? You said you believe in the Gita and the Sanatan. How do you deal with?
How do I deal with it? I do have my own moments of, like I said, despair. I do break down sometimes, I do cry, and I do feel that I'm being targeted for just, being myself. I do feel that way sometimes. But then the thing is that I really don't have a choice, when you... Do
you think that you have to change yourself in some way to be more acceptable, to have less people feel that you're an outsider, to mingle more easily? Does that thought go through?
Well, there was a time I was... I've worked a lot on my personality, and today I feel that I live in a very naive world. Like, I trust people easily, but honestly I wouldn't want to change that about me. I've been giving it a lot of thought, that I have a lot of faith in people, and when I meet someone I really believe in the beauty of life, and I'd rather get hurt and get hurt, or you call dumped, or get used and misused, than be cynical. Right?
Don't change yourself because somebody asks you to. Don't change yourself because the world wants you to. Be the way you are.
Thank you.
And you are the queen, and may you stay the queen. It's been absolutely fantastic chatting with you. I haven't seen someone as brave and courageous as you have. Thank you so much for joining me, and this is also a moment to celebrate. Not many people get to win a national award 3 times over as you have. So therefore sit back on that queen-like couch, and enjoy this moment. You're special, and through everything that you do, may you continue breaking every stereotype in our society. Thank you so much, Kangana Ranaut. It's been a pleasure chatting with you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Bollywood. This is a black tie event which US President Barack Obama previously joked is a night when Washington celebrates itself, brings together journalists, media barons, Hollywood